Hi everyone. I'm sick. Thought I'd share that with you guys. Bad cold. But I had nothing to do today. I can't go anywhere, so I wanted to get started on this new journal, and it's the blue and gold, and I've had such an overwhelming response to the last series of Craft With Me that I decided I would record today, and hopefully I won't cough too much. But I thought might as well do that and have a chat, because I haven't had any contact other than my husband, who's actually been kind of avoiding me because he doesn't want to get sick. I don't blame him. And so yeah, I thought, okay, I'll put the camera on, and I've just been prepping everything. I've told you guys this is my process. I get everything cut and inked and, ready. And then when I don't know, I find that if I'm on a roll, I don't want to stop and start cutting things out and, putting things together. When I'm on a roll, I have to go with it, because, if you're a crafter, you know that sometimes your mojo goes away for a little while. And that's kind of how I avoid that happening. Anyway, it's been a while since I put a video up, because after that last book, I was a little burnt out. And I guess that's why I was burnt out, because I was fighting off a cold. and it won. I lost. So it's been kind of a crummy week for me. I don't like complaining, because, we all have our ups and our downs. But I don't know if I mentioned, but I had to go and get a crown put on, a molar. And I don't usually go to the dentist, not very often. I've never really had, since I was a kid, I've never really had much trouble with my teeth. And anyway, I started going again. So now that I'm going, of course, they're finding all these things wrong with my teeth. Oh, the blessings of getting older, I tell ya. So anyway, I'm saying anyway a lot, sorry. He found a couple of cracks in one of my molars. And those scans, he said, it's hard to see how deep it goes. But it definitely needed a crown on it. So fine, I got all geared up for that and calmed myself down, and it actually was really pretty easy. No pain. Really good dentist. Very, very gentle and very patient. So I got through that, and then it's really weird. They stick this thing in your mouth and get you to bite down, and it makes a mold of your tooth. And then what they do is they take a grinder, and they had to remove the filling first, and then they grind the outside of your tooth to make like a little ledge right down at your gum line. And then they get the crown made, and it slips over your tooth, and then they glue it down. So it looks like a brand new tooth. And, the recommendation was that to get it done sooner rather than later, which is what happened to my husband. He waited a little too long, and part of his tooth broke off. So it makes it a little harder to do a crown. You want to keep as much of your tooth as possible, obviously. So mine hadn't broken yet, but she said, well, you could wait if you wanted, and I thought, well, we still have coverage. My husband has dental until the end of the month, So he's like, well, you should get it done. You know, we've got good coverage now. And I mean, we'll get coverage, but it won't be as good as what you can get through his company. So I thought, okay, that makes sense. Let's get it done. And like I say, the process was good. And the dentist was great. And then you have to wait a couple weeks. And then you go back. And they pop the old one off. They put a temporary. It's just made of plastic. Well, I couldn't bite at all. Like he said, try avoid chewing on that side because it is just plastic. And he said you could crack it if you bite down on something, you know, that's hard. So I thought, okay, fine. I avoided chewing on that side, but every now and then, you know, something would sneak over there, right? And it was pretty painful. So I thought to myself, I can't wait to get this, you know, finished and get the permanent one put on. So the day came. I went to the dentist, and she's like, well, generally we don't give you anesthetic because it usually just pops right off. I thought, okay, cool, no problem. So she tries twice, and it wouldn't come off. So then she tried a third time, and it literally felt like my tooth was coming right out of my head. So she stops. She goes, I think I better get the dentist. So fine, he comes, and he's super gentle, right? And he's like, okay, what's going on here? So they make you bite down on this little piece of paper. I don't know what for, he didn't say. And then he brings out what I call the pain stick, but I think it's called a sensitivity stick. I call it the pain stick because usually when I bite down on something like that, it's painful. So anyway, he puts it on my tooth, and I barely bit down on it, and I just about came out of the chair. It was so painful. And he's like, oh, that's not good. So I said, it's infected, isn't it? And he said, yeah, I think so. And you're going to need a root canal. So I'm like, awesome. I said, well, the only thing about that is I lose my insurance in a couple of days. So he's like, okay, well, we're going to get the girls to call. I said, you're not doing it? He says, no, it's you have to go to a dental surgeon. Well, surgery always sounds scary, right? I wasn't particularly scared, but I just thought, oh man, when am I just going to get my, you know, normal tooth back, right? So he explains that I have to go for the root canal and then I have to come back, and then they have to put the permanent cap back on. And all of this has to be done before the end of the month. So they phoned, and she comes back and she's like, oh, we can get you in today at 2:20. I'm like, okay then. And so my husband took me out to the surgeon. Super nice guy. Really good surgeon. Also gentle. And I liked that he, you know, he told me exactly what he was doing step by step as he did it. Well, I said to him before we started, I do not usually take freezing very well. And he's like, okay, we're giving you the strongest anesthetic we can give you in a dentist office. The next one up from that, you have to be hospitalized for it. So I said, okay, well, if it's really that strong, it should be good, right? So he gives me the anesthetic, a little pinch. He didn't do my dentist does like a little block on your gums before he actually puts the needle in, so you don't even feel the needle going in. I mean, he's really good. Anyway, this guy, he was fine, and, you know, I'm not a baby. Hey, I've had a child through cesarean, so you know what? Yeah, I know what pain is. So he does the needle, and I kind of flinched a little bit, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, that's a little pinch, and so it was fine. After that, it was fine. It was already, I could feel the freezing start to work. I thought, wow, this stuff's awesome. So they go, you know, you leave it in and for a bit before they come back, and get started. And before you even do any of that, I mean, they do, you got this sort of an intake kind of a thing. Big, long questionnaire for, like, you know, if you had any heart attacks or anything like that. And all these questions, health questions. So kind of, you know, you kind of start to wonder, like, I'm not going to like this very much, am I? Anyway, he comes back after, well, when they take you in, they have got this questionnaire, then the girl takes you in and she explains the process, and then you go in and they give you a set of x-rays, the kind that you have to bite down on that little thingamajiggy, and then they take pictures. And then you go into a room and they take a 360 of your head. And my husband says, did they see anything? Which kind of, you know, he's funny. That makes me laugh. Anyway, he takes all those pictures and makes sure, I don't know what they're looking for, but I guess everything was good. So they got me prepped and they got the anesthetic in, and he brings out the drill and he says, okay, well, what we're going to do is they put a hole through the temporary crown that's in my tooth. They don't take it off because they don't want my tooth to crack. So they leave that on. They drill a hole. And then basically what they're doing is they're removing your nerve and the blood sac that surrounds the nerve. And then they fill it with a compound, and she says to me, interesting fact, golf balls are made out of the same stuff. And I thought to myself, will my head bounce then? So that was fine. Starts the drill, touches my tooth, and I just about went through the roof. So, sorry. He says, before he puts the drill in my mouth, he says, now you make sure you tell me if you feel anything at all. And I mean anything, he said. I said, okay. So like I say, jumped out of the chair, and he's like, that would be a yes. So he gets another needle. And of course I can't feel the needle go in because I am blocked, but I guess whatever was happening inside my tooth wasn't doing too well. So the freezing was that kind of freezing that immediately takes effect. You don't have to wait. It's really quick. So that was fine. He starts that. Well, he says, before we started, you know, and I mentioned him about how that I don't really take freezing very well. He goes, well, that's fine. He said, you know, this is strong stuff, and if we have problems with it, I will bring out the bat. And I thought, okay, he's, you know, good. He's teasing, right? And I like that. I like humor. So that's fine. So he's putting the second needle in, and he goes, just to let you know, this is the bat. I tried not to laugh, right? Because you got your mouth, you can't even close your mouth because you got this apparatus in it holding it open, and I thought, okay, this is good. I need the humor. And he said, no, the great thing about this, it works immediately. He says, the bad thing is it only lasts about 5 minutes. And then he said, and with you, probably only 2.5, because you're special. I'm like, okay, who doesn't like to be special, right? So that's fine. He's working like a crazy man, like he was really fast. So good for me, yay. And got it done. I didn't feel a thing after that. It was great. And, you know, they give you this little goodie bag after, and you had to take Advil before he even starts. And then they give you this little goodie bag, and inside were a couple of Tylenol, because that's what I had to take next. And then after that, later that night, I had to take more Advil, and it's all for the swelling and the pain and whatever. And so I did that. But in the bag there was a little bar, and it's like a fig Newton bar kind of a thing, and a little tiny chocolate and a bottle of water and a napkin. And I thought, how adorable is that? Yeah. Anyway, it was good. So yeah, the anesthetic, I got it done at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was out of there by about 3:30. It took about an hour and a half in total with all the x-rays and all that stuff. It's about an hour and a half, and then the freezing didn't come out till about 10 o'clock that night. So that's how much freezing there was in it. I honestly thought that I was one of those people that had the plates in their lip, you know, it comes out like that. My chin was rock hard. Felt like it was 3 inches bigger than normal. But now I have to go back and get the crown done on Tuesday. So the next day I wake up and I've got a cold. And I'm like, awesome. This is great. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, what's today? Sunday. So Saturday, I think, yeah. The surgeon called to check up on me. Now, I mean, come on, guys. How many doctors actually do that, right? He was just terrific. I just thought he was amazing. Anyway, I said, you know, I'm doing good. I said, I've got a terrible cold, and so he said to me, that's probably why your tooth was so bad, because you've been fighting off this infection. Because when he drilled into the tooth, he says to me, this is what we call a very angry tooth. He says, what I mean by that is it's pretty much liquid in there. I guess I had such an infection in there that it was liquefying. So anyway, I feel no pain now because there's no nerve in there, so it's awesome. My jaw's still a tiny bit sore, but not like it was yesterday. It's a lot better today. But now I've got to, you know, make sure that I take really good care of myself, because I have to go back to the dentist on Tuesday to get my crown done. And, you know, I don't want to be coughing a lung up, because I have to get it done. My insurance runs out. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be fine. So that's been my week. Just a terrific week, I gotta say. But, you know, these things happen, right? And how was everybody else's week? I hope it was better than mine. What else was I going to tell you? That's the thing, my head's been really foggy because of the cold, I guess. I go to say something, you know, in a sentence, and I'm like, what was I thinking? And what was I just doing, you know? I mean, colds are amazing, right? Now I think I have a sty in my eye too. I'm just falling apart, as my husband says. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. So I told you guys we were going to Nanaimo, my mother-in-law and I, and we did. We had a wonderful time. I think I told you. But we decided we're not moving. We are going to stay put. We are going to start renovating our house. And we love the island. We really did. But like my husband said, and it's a legitimate, you know, concern, is, yeah, okay, the houses cost less over there, and you get way more for your money than you do on the mainland. That's for sure. But what if you don't like it? You know, you're stuck. Because you wouldn't get enough if you sold the house on the island to move back here to the mainland. we'd be worse off than we are now. So that was a big factor in staying put. Another, I think, too, for me is, you know, I've always liked this house that we live in. I like the neighborhood. The location is great. It's getting a little busier out here, it's true. But I always had this vision in my head of what this house could be, you know. And I kind of want to see that through. I know it's crazy because we'll never get our money out of it, but I don't really care. It's not about the money for me. I really like the house. Anyway, we're going to stay put, and I think we're going to start our renos in the spring next year. We'll start smaller ones now because we can, you know, work inside. We've got the garage. My husband's always wanted to repair all the gyprock that's in there. I don't know what the homeowners were doing, but there's holes everywhere. It's like they were, I don't know, looking for wire. And it used to have a built-in vacuum system, which they completely put in wrong. I've actually ripped it out. I don't use it. Because they had the, if you've ever seen a home vac system that's built in, you've got a power head, and you've got the hard, you know, rod that you hang on to, and the hose, and then there's an electric wire that you actually plug in, and that gets your power head moving. Well, all of the outlets that they put in where you put in the hose that's built into the wall, there's no outlet. So you couldn't plug the head in. I'm like, well, how are you supposed to use the power head when you can't plug it in anywhere? So I took it all out. It was just a pain. They never have great suction anyway. I've never really liked them. Maybe the newer ones are good, but yeah, I'm not bothering with something like that. So we took that out. Well, we think that's what they were fishing the wire for, is hooking up the vac system, I guess, because it was in the garage. And they never filled the holes in. They just left all the holes all over the garage. Well, I lose a ton of heat out of there because it's attached to the house, the garage. And you come in that way, and then you can come into the main floor from the garage. Well, you know, you lose a lot of heat doing that. And I'm very cheap when it comes to stuff like that. So I've always wanted that fixed. And I said to Ken, you know, we can start on that. It's not a big job, and we can figure out where they messed up the wire somewhere, and one of the coach lights that's on beside the door, the garage door, for where your car drives in, there's a light on either side of it. Well, one has never worked, ever. So we've always wanted to get that fixed. I bought new coach lights about 2 years ago, and they're still in the garage. Haven't hooked them up. And it's, you know, it's a bit of a job, because I mean, that's where all of our garbage is in the garage. And I'm a purger. I can't stand clutter. So now that he's done, he can go and start getting rid of stuff that he tends to hang on to things. Oh, they're perfectly good. Yeah, they are, but we won't ever use them, so why are we hanging on to them? You know, this is my deal. Anyways, I swear he's got probably a bin full of overalls. Well, he hasn't worn overalls for work in years because he went to management. And that's how long we've had those stupid things for. And another one, I swear he's got like a bin of just work gloves. Brand new work gloves. And the funny thing is we go out and he'll buy another pair of work gloves. Drives me insane. I'm like, just go in the garage and find the work gloves. Well, I don't know where I put them. So this is the assignment I've given my hubby. And so we'll get started on that, and that'll make me feel like something is happening. And, you know, I've got furniture that I'm putting up for sale that's just, you know, been put downstairs. We bought a new kitchen table and chairs. I've been wanting one for a long time. Ours is, how old would it be now? More than 20 years old, probably. You know, when the oak table craze came out, that was us. We bought the round solid oak table, solid oak chairs. Well, I hate them. I've never liked them. The chairs are so uncomfortable for me because I'm short and I can't touch the ground properly, and my legs fall asleep, you know, if I sit in them for too long. So I've never felt comfortable sitting at the kitchen table. It's like, you know, we tend to eat in the living room, Ken and I, but if we have company, we eat at the table. And I try not to eat there very long. It's like, okay, let's go in the living room. We're done. You know, it's not the kind of table where you just sit around chatting for hours. No. I mean, the table's a beautiful table, but it also was too big, really, for my kitchen. It was a 42-inch round table, and then it had the leaf. Well, it's fine for length, but it was too wide. I don't have a lot of room in that kitchen. So I always wanted to get a rectangular shaped one. And I love rustic. Anything rustic is kind of my taste. And we had just bought new living room furniture in the rustic style. Like, it's reclaimed wood. It's beautiful stuff. It's just all made in Canada. And it's, you know, reclaimed from barns and things like that. And we just love it. So I wanted something similar for the kitchen. Well, it's not wood color. It is a dark gray. And then the chairs are black. Well, I have an old, it looks old, but it isn't old. It's just the way I finished it. It's a buffet that's in the kitchen, and it was unpainted when I bought it, and I painted it in a matte black, and then I scuffed it all up, so it looks really old. So now the table and chairs match that. Looks really good. And makes my kitchen look a lot bigger. And it seats 4 comfortably, but you can seat 6. And I have 2 spare chairs that are in my living room. So, sorry you guys, I think I'm going to have to be done. Because I can feel it coming on pretty bad. So I hope you enjoyed the chat, and hopefully I'll be able to talk soon. Take care. Bye.